La, da, 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 da. La, da, 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 la, la, la.
Those of you who are in our Discord just now telling me that video calls do not require pants, I'm going to remind you people, you see my legs.
La, da, 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 da.
Hello, Internet Land.
Hello.
It is Tuesday. Would you stop that? I swear I'm going to smother you in your sleep. I'll do it too.
Only if you do it with your bare legs.
I could probably do it.
I would die a happy man.
Yeah, you'd have to get up. Howdy-ho.
I'm just adjusting the camera to make sure you can better see my lovely wife.
Who is sitting here staring at my figures going, great, I've been challenged to paint an entire figure in one day by the TMP. What am I painting?
Probably one of your girls.
Which one?
No.
I've got a few.
Maybe one of your Marines.
No, because you said you wanted me to record all those.
Oh, true. Do one of your psycho chicks.
Oh, that's easy. I could have that done like before we're even finished filming tonight.
Well, that's what we said to do in the day. But we gotta do. Wow.
Wait, I don't remember seeing the film.
LOL.
Film it. You just took pictures.
Well, you better take pictures. Don't tell you. We're talking with fam tonight. We have lots to talk about.
And right now we're going to say hello to Mr. Heinrich Bappa, to the Commodore with his phalanx out in high orbit, making sure that everybody behaves themselves. Good luck with that. And, of course, to our dear friend, Mr. Meek.
Mix!
I saw the picture with you with the baby. It was so darling. So, yes, Roger Smith, hello. Thank you so much for popping in before you head to bed. We really do appreciate you saying hi. So tonight we're actually going to be going, well, more accurately, he's going to be doing most of the talking because somebody was able to get his hands on the core book for Indominus. Not the Indominus per se, but for 9th edition.
I got a copy of the Indominus book.
Yeah.
Not a physical copy.
No, but
somebody took a lot of photos.
Yeah. So we've been he's been reading it over quite a bit, and he's actually going to
Ben!
Hi, Ben. He's going to be talking a lot about it. He's talked some of it with me. I can't say that it makes too much
She
sense.
looked at me like this when I did.
No, I looked at him like this. Okay. I do better with hands-on physical.
So that does tell me we are definitely going to be doing some 9th edition rules videos leading up to the actual rolling of dice.
Which was part of the plan.
Well, no, I was thinking about we were just going to play a simple game and then introduce rules and play the game. But I'm thinking I may do a rules breakdown individually first.
That'd probably be good. So yes, so we get to deal with that, and this is him also refuting a comment that we've heard about.
We're playing Saturday. Yes, we are playing Saturday. We're playing Saturday.
Hello. So he'll be going over all of that, as well as apparently there's a rumor that's going around that Storm Shields got nerfed. We can tell you right now that that is false news. We actually have the truth of it. So he's actually going to touch on that.
Hello, Dave. And Phoenix. Hello, hello, hello.
But first tonight, we are going to start with what he's got on the bench, or rather, what doesn't he have on the bench? Because guess what hasn't been running all week, folks? That would be the printer.
I'm out of resin. I got it today while I was at work. 2 bottles.
They lost his order.
Lost my order of resin. I got it.
Oh, wow.
And they're selling it cheap.
Yeah.
Wow. And they're pre-ordering already, so they must know how many boxes they're getting. That's crazy.
From what I hear, also, it doesn't help that.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Wolves are going to rock in 9.
I'm playing salamanders.
There's a couple. They're going to be just Marines are going to rock in 9.
I did hear that apparently,
but wolves are going to be.
GW hasn't actually been sending. Some small stores aren't even receiving the boxes.
No. It's not that they're not getting the boxes. They're not getting the goodies that go along with them,
okay.
Which is,
kind of BS.
Well, it's their way to make sure that people buy from them.
Still be asking that thing so you don't hurt yourself.
Yeah.
And that.
Should take away all my sharp objects. Makes me sad.
So, yeah. So
let's talk about what's on the bench. What do you got?
Why don't we start with you? Weather
Big.
Okay, I guess we're gonna go with me first because I actually have stuff on my bench, whereas his is empty.
No, I have it. I just don't have a lot on the bench.
So, unlike me, I have quite a bit. Let's see here. We have got this lovely corn guy that I just finished up mostly with the skin. I have to do a little bit of here and there on the scar work on his back before I start in with his armor. So, I have the beginning of my salamander captain, who is my chapter master, company commander, or whatever the hell you want to call her, because right now she's
going to be the lead captain figure in her armor.
So I just started painting up her armor. The base coat is done on it, and I was asked to please not continue painting her unless I've got her on video, because Dee wants to do a progression style of videos of me as I work on them, talking about them, their lore, my inspiration, blah, 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 blah.
I have an idea for an interesting video.
And he made me a Smash Captain, a female one. I think her head looks funny. I think her head looks too big, in my opinion, in the armor, but that's just me. So she's not primed or anything. I just got her. She's supposed to be my Smash Captain. So yay! I got a plate full of half-finished Night Haunt and awaiting to be painted Lust Elves. So yeah.
Makes get some sleep, my friend. I will talk to you soon.
Yes. Sleep well, drive safe.
I'm looking forward to the package. I'm so looking forward to the package. He's sending me Plague Marines. I'm excited.
I have also this glorious thing that I'm still...
I haven't done anything on it in a week.
Actually, I added all of her shading in. Thank you very much. Yes. Added her shading and her light sources, which I plan on with her hands and whatnot. Oh. And then I've got 2 other big girls on the bench as well. No, I have not.
We've never seen the package today.
Nope. Sorry, hon. Nothing's come for me yet. The other thing I've got is this glorious gal.
That you're stripping because you want to do the paint differently because you had an idea about it.
Yeah, I wasn't too happy with the way she was turning out. So I actually want to try and strip her of her shades and washes and whatnot, because I think that might be the easiest way to get the silver and white that I want to get in there on her. I don't know. I'm trying to draw a gothy, painted gothy elf here.
I think it looks good. I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know. Maybe I'll set it to the side and touch her. And recently and I'm also working on coloring in a very large picture on a computer that only has 4 freaking things of RAM.
8 gigs of RAM.
8 gigs of RAM. And if you try and put an 8 gig stick in there, my computer freaks out and has no idea what to do. Not a problem, honey.
Yeah, we just had it pass over us, so understand completely.
So I have been working on coloring in a Frank Miller style poster for Hellchild that is long overdue, and I feel horrible about this. It's been a challenge. It has actually been a challenge. I've never done anything quite like that style before, trying to mix it a little bit with the Art Nouveau style, and yeah, it's been a adventure. We'll leave it at that. Yeah, and I think that's all I've got on the bench going on right now.
I got 2 squads of wolves I'm working on. I've got them built. I've got their base colors on. No, I've got their base blues on them.
Yes, you got base blue.
And that's it. I haven't worked on figures in a few days. I actually have been spending most of my time reading rules.
That, and he was able to put together. He was also working on 2 videos at once.
Yeah.
Light and dark.
Well, I had to get them done.
One of them will not be going up until after a certain box
later this week
is mailed. Once the box is mailed, then it'll go up, as well as the pictures that go with it.
Yeah, I've actually spent quite a bit of time not painting figures because I've been reading and rereading and rereading this and going over the main rule book that I managed to get a trash copy of.
Trash copy.
It's a trash copy. I mean, half the pages are watermarked, so you can barely read some of the rules. But it lets me get over the pieces I need to get over and kind of get a better grip on them. At least so I've got a base beginning starting, because I want to be able to hit the ground running as soon as I have the points in my hands. Because that's one of the 2 things we'll be ordering on Saturday. We're going to be ordering INDOMINUS, and we're going to be ordering the chapter approved, the brand new chapter approved for 9th edition. Because you need both to be able to play 9th edition. Because all the points, everybody's points are changing. Everything's points are changing. So we're going to need that book to be able to play them. So yeah.
Yeah, once he's got a full grasp on the book, on the rules, we're going to start with the working our way up as he's teaching basically me and Plague Child
and Phoenix with her sisters of battle.
Yeah, I'm trying to convince her to let me cosplay her as a sister. I mean, some of you have seen this beautiful woman when she comes over to our house. She would look amazing.
I don't know, I think it'd be kind of cool if the 4 of us go down to Ren Fair,
just dressed as,
her as a sister of battle, you as a you as a salamander, me as a space wolf, and Commodore
as a commissar.
No, as an Imperial fist with the giant honking fist of fistingness.
We would have to go on the Time Traveler's Day.
Yeah. But it would be awesome.
Yeah, our local Ren Fair, if it were open this year, which it's not, they actually canceled it in light of everything that was going on. They have a day called Time Traveler's Day. Do you have any idea how many doctors show up that day?
Doctors show up. Klingons show up.
Lots of Klingons. There's a lot of Star Trek groups that show up. So King among nerds.
Yes, I would be. Because you can go as Dorn if you want, although you don't have the head for it.
He's a little bald.
But I will go, if we were going to do it that way, I'll go as Big Papa.
No. No, you're not.
What do you mean?
You will not go as Grandfather.
That'd be awesome.
No.
Great big shining golden armor. And just wear a skull and have a text-to-speech device. Damn you kids, get off my lawn.
Wrong race with the damn you kids, get off my lawn.
This was not my intent.
So that means I would do a gender bent Vulcan?
Whatever. No, I'd probably want to. I don't want to go as the Emperor. I want to go as my man.
Russ?
Yeah.
No, honestly, I thought when you said Big Papa, I thought you were talking about Papa Nurgle.
Oh, have you guys chased me around?
That's zinc.
No, I want you to picture a great unclean one.
Unfortunately, I see a nurgling that thinks it's a great unclean one doing that.
Shrunk people lick them. I wouldn't do it with my actual tongue. I'd have a prosthetic, like a giant rubber tongue that I got covered in like slime. Hi!
I would like to point out to you people, this is the man who wanted to go who wanted to dress like Krillin from Team 4 Stars Abridged, and just walk around with a little that says Krillin pwn count, but that it had a little number flip thing. So every single time he gets pwned, and if he happens to run into any other DBZ guys, he wants to go Sensubin, and then start throwing
Sensubin.
And he wants to carry around a bag
of green jelly beans,
so he can chuck them at people. This coming also from the man who wanted me to dress up like Android 16 or 18. Sorry, not 16.
But it'd be great. That'd be great. Run as a Nurgle, have a tongue coming out of the mouth, then wear a sleeve that I can have it like this on my arm, and then have like a fake arm, just a fake arm hanging off. That would be so many levels of awesome. I wish I could do sound effects.
That thing would get ripped off. I don't know if it'd be ripped off by me or someone else. You go up to a Scott and do that, or one of the Vikings, and they freaking just rip it off and start beating you with it.
So that's my arm. So they attack an arm and I just grab things with it.
So Synonym says he'll go as Vegeta.
That'd be good.
Does that mean, are you going to go to Vegeta with the when his blood when his rage breaks?
You don't apparently understand me. That's not drugs. That's just me.
That's him after a day of work, and then I gave him really good food, and he's had a monster.
Ah, look, it's Nurgle juice.
By the way, has anybody heard whether or not the themed painting thing is gonna, that Prospect has been talking around, is going anywhere?
Themed painting?
Yes, remember we were, lots of hair gel. Yes. Hells yes. You have to go as Vegeta, and we have to make you a shirt that says, "Bitch, I'm adorable." That was my favorite line. Besides Vegeta's. I'm not touching it. Not touching it. Not touching that one at all.
Sensu bean? Sensu bean?
Really? You have... I can make Saiyan armor now! I have the technology.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I just like the idea of making marine armor.
Oh, I'm fun on doing that too. We're already trying to figure out how to make marine armor that isn't wobbly. That's one of the things I don't like about some of the outfits that I've seen some cosplayers do with their Marines, and I know we're getting way off subject, and I apologize for that.
We're not getting off subject. It's part of Warhammer.
But when they're standing still, they look freaking awesome, and then they start walking, and it's like all the segments of their armor start just.
They just don't have enough.
It's not. They don't have enough.
They don't have enough attach points to the bodysuit underneath.
And
not enough Velcro. Not enough Velcro. No. But if you're wearing a bodysuit underneath, it doesn't matter.
Well, so the idea was trying to figure out how we could get it to attach in such a way that it was comfortable, but while still wearing like what looks like, because they have that cybernetic plug-in bodysuit that they go into, which is the black almost. It's hard to explain.
Everybody here knows what you're talking about.
Yeah. And, well, almost everyone. I'm pretty sure Phoenix doesn't.
Commodore, show her the picture of the armor so she knows what the Under Armour looks like. It's Space Marine underwear with plug-in suit jacks.
It's it's a giant flight suit, basically, from a sci-fi where, you wear one of the big... Yes, thank you. Thank you very much for, summing that up. And so just finding how to do that, and then when the armor itself goes on, it doesn't do the flop thing. And for him, we'll put a couple of, platforms with the cans in it so that when he walks, it does that metallic. I love that metallic sound. It's freaking cool. So I don't know if I'd be able to wear the helmet.
No, you don't wear the helmet. You do that right there.
Oh my gosh, that cape would be so much fun and so hard. So Phoenix, guess what? We have some work to get done.
Yeah, it's character design.
Yeah,
the easiest way to think about it is just think about stormtroopers from Star Wars, and think about how their armor fits. Space Marine armor is supposed to fit like that, but snugger, with power joints.
Well, there's also more.
Yeah, but I mean, but if you look at all Space Marine armor,
yeah,
or Stormtrooper armor, yeah, that'd be a lot of fun to make. It'd be easy to make. Super easy. Super easy.
Considering this is basically what all
super easy.
I mean, most of them except that stomach plate.
We got a year. Winter project. Oh, that'll make a nice video soon.
Winter project?
Yeah.
So now that Michael has cosplay Warbler, yes, and if you go on the other side of the Warbler, you'll find Ava phone, which is the same damn thing, but cheaper.
Well, it's not the same damn thing. It's a little weaker. Warbler, you want a heat gun to work with. On the other hand,
you can use heat guns with Ava as well.
One of the other things I've also found, because I've made Space Marine shoulder pads before.
I want to try and do
camping foam. Camping foam works really good because it's thicker and you can keep it. Mr. Tick, you bet your ass it is. We got 4 days. 4 days.
So welcome. We're gonna need to get that like on a sound thing for Friday.
Yeah.
Hello, Jason. We were just talking about cosplaying for and making different armor to go to a. Maybe if we can go to the next the Ren Fair next year, I'll dress on Time Traveler's Day.
Or if we can get it done in time, because remember originally.
Oh, we were going to do it for
Adepticon.
That's if they're doing Adepticon next year.
If they do Adepticon next year, there you go.
Oh yeah, that'll be great.
Yeah, I got to get that on my phone anyhow because when I play Ben on Saturday. I caught it though. That's what we're talking about, my man.
And taking my lovely sexy girl here and making her armor, and I'm looking at her cloak going, that thing is going to be a bitch to make, and
not at all.
Phoenix, get over here!
Well, it's not going to be it's going to actually be really...
It'd be more, it's attaching the scales on.
I know how to do that.
That's the part that I was thinking was going to be.
I know how to do that. So,
shall we get into the actual reason for today?
Let's talk about Indominus. 4 days, guys. 4 days until pre-order.
Unless you're in some areas where they've already...
Are we doing checkout online? It's free. Well, if it's free, yeah, then we'll do it. It depends on the days. Gen Con's going to be free this year. It's going to be online, though.
Really?
So we probably do that.
That would be cool.
Yeah. I haven't been to Gen Con since Gen Con left Milwaukee.
Isn't that the one that...
broke my heart.
Moon normally does?
No. Moon doesn't go to Gen Con. Moon goes to
WizCon. That's right.
Your first DBA army. $15 million. So, 4 days to Indominus. Lots of people confused about the rules they've seen so far. Everybody chomping at the bit. There's already battle reports online, and people are like, how is this possible? Well, Games Workshop produced far more than 5,000 for North America. That has become evident given the number of kits, full kits, that they have given out, along with chapter approved to so many people. I am not salty. But when I saw channels with 1,300 subscribers getting copies of Indominus, I was like, they are pushing this hype train, which I'm good with. I'm good with this. The fact that they were planning originally to let everybody buy 6. Dude, if you ever make it to Adepticon, we will drop everything we have to be there. I'm telling you that right now, Peggy. You bring, and what you do is you fold up Kaiju, you put him in your suitcase, and the two of you come.
Yes, yes. Just so I can stand there and drool over you both.
We'll dress them up.
I'm a red-blooded American woman. Sorry, the accent's sexy.
We'll dress the both of them up.
Like?
One is Khal Drago. Mm-hmm. And the other is Khaleesi. They get to pick who's who.
Show us your copy. He doesn't have a physical
No, I don't have a physical copy. I don't have a physical copy. Unfortunately, one of the people that got a hold of it showed it to the wrong person. And that wrong person took their cell phone and went click-a, 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 and took photos of every single page.
They're not very good.
They're not great photos.
I'll be one of the Starks.
They took photos of every single page, then bound the whole thing into a PDF and threw it out on 4chan. And then somebody grabbed it from 4chan and threw it on Reddit. And then somebody from Reddit threw it out on a few other websites after compiling it and making order and cleaning it up a bit. So
all of us going as Game of Thrones characters. We can go as House Drake.
No. You go to Space Marine.
But all right, fine. Game of Thrones 40K edition?
So we're going to Space Wolves.
Here's a dictionary. Please start reading at A and don't stop until you reach the last.
So, yeah, they made this copy and they threw it out there. So I have been poring over it. A lot of it's unreadable, to be bluntly honest. A lot of it is super unreadable. But most of that's the lore. Luckily or unluckily, that's mostly the lore section. That's almost impossible to read. And some of the rules are. But enough of the rules are pretty clear that I've been able to read over and got, between reading them, watching a few videos by people that were given legitimate copies, and watching at least 4 battle reports at this point.
So you shouldn't be. He'll be hard to miss.
Yeah. I've kind of got a good grasp on how the rules work. There's a couple extra rules compared to 8th. Until I throw dice on Saturday, I won't know for certain if I really, really like them or not. Most rules. There are some rules that I've already read over that I've heard a lot of complaining about, that once I read them and then put a couple figures on the table and put some terrain down, I went, oh, well, that makes sense.
Yeah. Obstruction, light cover.
The obstruction, light cover, because I didn't understand because somebody.
I can see you, but you can't see me. There's no fucking wall there.
That was a bad piece of terrain as an example. It made sense outside of the context. So, one of the things that the terrain rules do is building ruins on bases. It can be helpful to the terrain, but if you don't build the base, hello, Brother Al. If you don't build the ruins on all 4, or at least 3 of the 4 sides, the rule can be super confusing.
Yes.
So if you only build if you build a square base and you only put ruins on 2 sides and then just put some rubble on the other 2 sides, you're like, but how does that work? Because the entire base counts. One of the biggest things that people are having problems gripping is the concept of footprint.
Yeah, that took me a few minutes to get, and that's when I finally told him, okay, we're done. I have 30 minutes to try and learn all this. No.
So footprint. What is footprint of terrain? Well, 99% of the time, well, I don't even see. If it has a base, if your terrain is based, the base of the terrain is the footprint. It's that simple. Now, there is some terrain that doesn't have bases. Most of the time, that's going to be walls, ruins. Also, ruined walls. If it is ruins or ruined walls and they're forming like an L shape, all you do is you draw a line between the two outside corners, and anything in that triangle, that's in the footprint. They also are very clear. Yeah, and exactly it. They basically clarified the rules so that they have almost the identical footprint rules as Age of Sigmar. They're also put in a wonderful caveat in the rules. When you and your friend sit down to play, go over to terrain on your table and make sure you agree on what each piece of terrain counts as. That's important. If you just throw a random piece and say, okay, let's play it. Well, hang on. What is this supposed to be? This looks weird. What is this? What is that? Talk about it with your... They're trying to foster more conversation. They also make the point that if you're at a tournament, the person that set up the table, the tournament organizer, will tell you in the tournament rules what each piece of terrain counts as. Now, I'm not going to go over every single piece of terrain right now, but I'm telling you, the easiest way to describe this is if you put the terrain on the table, put figures, 2 sets of figures, the good guys and the bad guys, whoever you're using, and put them on the terrain and then read the rule, it makes sense. It really does. They're really clear. It's just a matter of seeing how they work together. Okay. I think the most confusing one we saw was the obscuring terrain. Obscuring terrain is terrain that's at least 5 inches tall. So basically 2-story ruins count as obscuring. What that means is that if I'm in the terrain and you're out of terrain, obscuring doesn't matter. Obscuring only matters is if I am on one side of it, outside of it, and you're on the other side of it, and it is between us, but neither one of us are in its footprint. If neither one of us are in its footprint and it's between us, we can't see each other. Unless one of us is an airplane, and then we can always see the airplane, or one of us is 18 moons or more, and then we can see you. But that's it. There were so many people confused by that. It's like, well, if I'm in it, can you see me or not? Why can you see me? And I was too until I looked at it again and then noticed most ruins also have light cover, which means I have the +1 armor because or the +1 hard to be seen because I'm in terrain. So, like I said, it makes sense. Terrain rules didn't really change that much. They just kind of clarified. Instead of giving each individual piece its own rules, they gave 11 object types, and then each piece of terrain is given a number of keywords. It's kind of simple in that respect. The big one that other people are talking about is hills. Hills don't do nothing for you. You're on a hill, I can see you. I'm on a hill, I can see you. Unless the hill physically is tall enough that it blocks line of sight. Then it blocks. Hills are not considered terrain. That is an important designation. So like the Imperial Guard, Imperial Fists have a psychic ability that goes, hey, if you're in a piece of terrain, I can do a psychic thing and anybody in that terrain takes damage. Hills are not terrain. They are considered part of the board. They're just an elevation change in the board. That's it. So I had to go over it a couple times, but I figured as this used to be, or still is very much, a terrain-heavy channel, I figured having a clear understanding of terrain rules was kind of a necessity. So I dig it. I dig the rules. I think looking at the actual rules of the order of operations in combat, I think the order of operations in combat and everything the way it works, I think it makes more sense. I think it broke some of the gamey parts of the game, which is really good. I think one of the worst ones that they broke was the whole multiplication of strength. There used to be, do hills obscure? Hills obscure if they are physically tall enough to block line of sight. If I'm on top of the hill at the edge and you're down below me, you and I can see each other. But if there's a hill and we cannot physically, the two units cannot see each other, then it is obscured. But that is not considered a terrain piece. It's considered part of the board. So it can't be shot. It can't be destroyed. If it's a building, it was considered a building. And it has no actual dice rolling effects on gameplay. But it is very physical. So if you have gigantic hills this big, yes, you could actually block a Titan with it. But it is very specific that hills only block what they physically actually obscure. So angles matter. And looking at a lot of terrain rules, angles matter now too. Because it's about drawing lines. Because they want to stop the gaminess. Hey, I've got a foot inside of this building, so I get the benefit. No, you don't. No, there's lines being drawn. So that was one of the big things. They did eliminate a lot of the gaminess. That was, I thought, was one of the smart things they did in this edition.
Because my character is kneeling, you can't see me, but I can see you.
Yeah. No, that's not how that works.
Well, if that's the case, then I'm just going to make a freaking army of everybody kneeling.
One of the interesting points is the strength doubling. Perfect example. I am a space marine. I have a power fist. I have a strength 4. Therefore, if I punch you with my power fist has a strength of 8. That's the way it works. Now, in 8th edition, I have a litany of hate going on. Therefore, I get a +1 strength. And there's a psychic ability that gives me a +1 strength. So now I have a strength 6. So you double it, I have a strength 12. Yeah. That is not the case in 9th edition. You use regular mathematical rules. I have a strength of 4. I have a power fist. It doubles to 8. Then I use a litany of hate. It adds 1. Then I use the psychic ability. That adds 1. I have a strength of 10. I'm still super strong, but it's not a force multiplier. That's an important point because there's a couple ways that and it's like that with any multiplier because there's a couple other items and a couple artifacts out there. Like I'm pretty sure it's a I almost want to say it's a object for the salamanders that doubles the amount of wounds on, or doubles the toughness on a character.
Is that one of our relics?
Yeah, you have a relic that doubles your toughness. Well, if you have things that add to your toughness, in 8th edition, you would add it up and then double it.
That seems cheap.
That's gross. There was a way to get a character. I think it was a character. There was a character dreadnought that I think could get something like a 16 or an 18 toughness in the end.
That's disgusting.
Yeah. So yeah, it was absolutely ridiculous. So now it's the regular, it's PEMDAS. So it's you multiply or divide first, and then addition and subtraction. And that's important. Now, the other point to make with that is that the +1, -1 cap is after all additions have been thing. So let's say I have a +6 and a -3. I end up with a +3. It just goes back down to +1. But that is only for the 2 hit rolls. That is only on 2 hit rolls. Some people were saying, well, you can't get bonuses to hit +1 on any. You can't get more than a +1 bonus on anything. That is not the case. The +1 or -1 maximum penalty or bonus is only on hit rolls. So shooting or fighting. That's it. If you have things that give you +2, +3, +4, that's fine as long as it's not on 2 hit. Which does make me curious about specific units. Well, you got to use it again. And no, you didn't. You totally didn't. You do it all the time with your models. Don't be a nerd. You are a nerd. Don't do that.
I was going to say, you're telling your brother to not be a nerd.
No.
What?
He's just not a math nerd, but he is really. Because I could ask him, how many inches to, in what scale? If I'm this tall and I'm supposed to be this tall, what scale is that? And he can rattle those numbers off to me. He's a math nerd.
He's a closet math nerd.
Well, he needs to come out of the closet.
I'm pretty sure he's going to disagree with that statement.
Al, get out of the closet.
God damn it. I'm sitting here trying to debate.
So there's that. All right. Other clarifications.
You know what these rules kind of remind me of?
What?
2nd edition. D&D. Okay, hold on.
There's a lot of THACO going on there, yeah.
See? Thank you. Well, I'm not the only one who noticed that.
Actually, it's a lot more like 3rd edition. That's the funny thing. Because there's an order of operations. 2nd edition was just pile it on. 3rd edition, there was order of operations. So it was more like 8th edition was like 2nd edition D&D, and 9th edition is more like 3rd edition D&D, which is pretty cool.
3rd edition D&D is easy, though.
So is 9th, actually.
Once I learned it, I'm probably
not screwing up with 8th edition will make it fine. And those of you that play 8th edition, there's not that big a difference. Storm shields. Oh my goodness.
All right. So there was a rumor around about those guys. We are here to officially debunk.
There was a lot of gnashing of teeth, especially among Space Wolves players. I didn't see it before, Zane. Hello, nerd.
Hi, Zane. I never saw you come in. When did you come in?
I didn't see him. I didn't see him.
Al, do not tell Mini Warbot to use his toes to count too.
We don't want him taking his shoes off.
I'm having sudden Gully Dwarf flashbacks. You have been?
I didn't see nothing.
I have to take my shoes off. Oh.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that, buddy.
I'm sorry, honey. I didn't know that that was happening. That's weird.
That's very weird. So, storm shields. So, a lot of people noticed that Primaris with storm shields, they get a +1 armor and a 4-up invul save, which is different. Than 9th edition, or different than 8th edition storm shields, which were a straight 3-up invul save. And there was much gnashing of teeth about this. And then this past weekend, there was an FAQ live stream, I think on Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
And I was reading an excerpt from it, and the rules guy that was doing the FAQ was very clear. Storm shields themselves do nothing. It's dependent on what the character figure says they do as to what they do. So on non-Primaris character Marines, they still do the same thing. And I've done non-Primaris Marines, like Space Wolf Wolfen, like Thunderwolf Cavalry, like Wolf. And I say this because the Space Wolves are the heaviest users of Storm Shields. They've got so many units that can use them. There's actually very few units outside that do. Point to be made, that's also true for the Custodes. The Custodes use Storm Shields.
Yes, they do.
They are not affected. They still get their 3-up invul save. It is very specific that Custodes, that Primaris, when they use Storm Shields, they get a bonus one of their armor. So their armor goes from a 3 to a 2, but now they got a 4-up invul save. And cover to human skill. I can try behind them like Bulgrims used to with the new cover. Apparently, no, I can't. No. Figures are not covered.
Are elves considered hardcover or softcover?
Depends if you're trying to shoot through them or shoot around them.
Softcover.
It is. So yeah, regular current figures that use Storm Shields, their rules are not changing. It's specific to the Primaris figures, the Blade Guard, and the new Primaris Captain and the Primaris Battle Leader that all get them. But then I looked again at the Primaris Captain. That Primaris Captain is not carrying a Storm Shield.
Yeah, they've got that relic.
He's got a relic shield, which is different. The relic shield affects Psyker abilities being used on him. He has a 4-up invul save because he has an Iron Halo. Basically, to Primaris, having a Storm Shield is basically the same as having an Iron Halo. 4-up invul. It's cool. It's very cool. I like the fact that Primaris can finally get Storm Shields, and I like that it's not as powerful. But I like that they finally have the options to do it. I'm super excited for my box of Indominus coming.
Yes, I can't wait to play you for it so I can get my Marines.
Yeah.
I'm painting this because you told me I'm not allowed to paint my salamanders unless I'm on a camera.
You're correct.
So give me the damn camera so I can fucking film it. Wow, my language is very bad today.
You're being naughty.
I'm going to put myself in a 300-minute timeout.
300 seconds.
Whatever. 300-second timeout because apparently I can't control my filter tonight. Kind of like I was on Frosted Fist on Friday.
No.
Sorry, not sorry. Who did that to me? Yeah,
So that's, I mean, those are the big gimmies at this point that I've taken away. One of the other, there's a couple other big gimmies I was looking at.
Well, you were talking a little bit and kind of grumbling a little bit about how they were, the way that they, yeah, you missed a lot. Go watch the Frost and Fist live stream from last Friday. You were talking a little bit about the Crusade rules. You've got mixed feelings about it.
I do. When they first announced Crusade, I was super hyped up for it. I was actually, when they first announced Crusade and the fact that it was going to have ongoing rules and ongoing campaign setting stuff and ongoing numbers and building your army, I was like, wow, okay. I was super, super excited about it.
He was asking about it.
I know. I was super excited about it. And when I got my photographed copy of the rules, Oddly enough, the Crusade rules are mostly readable. And I read them.
And now he hates them.
I don't hate them.
I'm
very torn on them. I think if you were doing a dedicated Crusader league, like you're doing a Crusader, like we were doing,
kind of like what I had suggested, because I view it mostly as an escalation 2.0 type thing.
And that is very true. If you were doing it as a dedicated league, so everybody in that specific escalation league or that specific Crusade league were all following the same Crusade rules, and you were all doing it together, so you all were gaining power and or telling your story and your saga at the same time, I think it'd be really cool. Ben, we've been talking about that.
There at one of the game stores nearby, not our Legion's store, because unfortunately they don't allow videotaping in there. There is a gaming store not too far from there that last year they hosted an escalation league. And when I found out about this, I had talked to the owner and to the guy, their Warhammer guy, and he really liked the idea. So once they're able to host, once Indominus is out and we can read, we're gonna probably do it once a week there, and probably end up filming some parts of it. Because we were given permission to be able to do that, to put it up on the table, as long as we gave them credit where credit is due, where we're going to teach people not only the basis of how to play the game, but also it's designed also for new players, just like an escalation, was all my idea, that you could take a person who's never played before and go, okay, we're going to put together 25 points. But we're going to spend like a week or two working on the base rules and showing newbies how to paint, how to assemble your stuff, things like that. Starting off slowly and then starting at the 25 point, do that for a couple of weeks. And they're totally on board with this. And this was the whole idea, is that basically probably I'll be the power behind face because they know Dee better, and I have a hard time talking at that store because there's some guys there that don't like me because, you know, I have boobs.
Which means I'm going to force her to do the talking and just stand there behind her. If anybody gives her shit, shut them down. Because this was all her idea, honestly.
I thought it would be a lot of fun. I've been talking with Heinrich, actually, on ways that we could potentially try and figure out how to do one virtually with everybody, which I think would be a lot of fun.
Tabletop Simulator to have to do it.
Well, not just with Tabletop Simulator. There is a possibility of doing it if you have two people with a webcam, but the webcams would have to be on the field. And it's kind of like playing mail by chess.
Yeah, it'd be better to do it through Tabletop Simulator.
Yeah, except for I don't own Tabletop Simulator. I don't know how to use it. No, you own Tabletop Simulator.
Try it on my computer, whatever.
My computer is a piece of...
Your computer is not that much better than mine. And Tabletop Simulator is actually really easy. It's drag and drop.
Anyway, so there was an idea of maybe starting something like that within the IDIC or Cheerleading Wargamers community also for all of us. Yeah, I did hear about that.
Yeah.
My computer will not run it.
Actually, probably will.
Not with GIMP and the other editing programs that I have on it.
Yeah, it'd run. You just wouldn't be able to run at the same time you're running it.
I wouldn't be able to run anything else.
Because
I can only run...
when you're running Tabletop Simulator, you would be running it.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll look at it. But so that was an idea that we had been toying around with, and because... Heinrich and Zane are so freaking awesome. Where did I put my... Oh my gosh, did I lose it?
What?
That means I may have to print another one. I have him print another one. So the idea also is that, you know, if we do this, we come together like once a week, maybe a Saturday evening or something like that, where, you know, we can pit people against each other, build our crusade, and maybe, just maybe, if we're the ones hosting like a tournament style of it, we have these wonderful things that were supposed to be cup caps, but they're really cool and would make wonderful medals and magnets that I want to hand out. By the way, if anybody wants to get a painting cup that says "Prime for Licking" on it, please let me know. We do have prices set for them, and I just have to let Zane know so he can give them to me so I can ship them out. So, I'm sorry, I've had a little bit of...
I know, yeah. That's why I was saying something. So, going back to Crusade. The main rule book, the rules... No, it's at an angle. It's an old cabinet.
There are ghosts here. They're just not...
There's a space wolf looking over my shoulder. Here's the thing. Yeah. Here's the thing. The Crusade rules are very thorough. They're very complete.
I look forward to that.
They're very thorough. Your average player, your normal average casual player ain't got time for this. If you're tracking your stuff through Crusade, first off, honestly, because there are benefits and bonuses and hindrances and minuses, you're not going to play Crusade games. You're not going to play Crusade rules against people that aren't playing Crusade. Now, you could count that in your saga, so when you go back to playing another Crusade game with that same army, you could mark them that way. That's fine. I don't think anybody have a problem with that if you're in an agreement in playing Crusade with a lot of people. There are two problems with that inherent issue with the Crusade thing. If you're playing it on your own to just guide your army, then, to be perfectly honest, in a gaming situation where lots of people want whatever advantage they can get, they can just mark, well, I had all these games, and there we go, and I got all these experience points, and I got all these points, and there's that. There's really no, because it's a self-driven campaign. The secondary problem with it is that it's literally not compatible in play with other people playing the game, let's say on a match play level. It's just not compatible because there are inherent bonuses and minuses that aren't reflected in match play points. Surely everyone
cheating?
No.
Who was that guy that got banned over in Europe?
Oh, the guy, the cheating Italian.
Oh, the Italian? I thought he was Spaniard.
No, he's a cheating Italian. Yeah. Yeah, so that's the thing. It's not compatible with match play rules. Now, on the other hand, if you have a group of people that are all agreed on playing, and they're all playing the same number of games, and they're all playing these games in the same circle, like in a type of an escalation league, they work great because then everybody builds together, and everybody gets their bonuses and minuses, and then it becomes more strategic. But that is the other thing. And there is a very realistic thought about that because there are minuses for losses. And in the end, you could have a situation where if you've lost a lot of games, you've got units with permanent wounds, which are permanent minuses. You've got characters that you can't field for X number of games because they're recovering from wounds. I liked the concept of what they wanted to do with Crusade. I think this is a classic case in they were trying to do something really cool, and they way overthought it. And I think the reason they overthought it, to be bluntly honest, is that they're trying to draw in the role-playing crowd. And since they no longer have the official Warhammer role-playing game, although I know there's a semi-authorized one out there, or there's an old edition that a lot of people still play. But basically, honestly, looking at the Crusade rules, it's kind of like tying a low-end RPG with XP points to Warhammer. Wrath and Glory is pre-current. Okay, well, there you go. Yeah, it's basically it's a role-playing element, kinda tied to an army. And that's not a bad thing. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I just don't know that I'm very enamored with the whole idea, just because of the way that they have it structured. Again, I think us testing it out in the house with 3 or 4 or 5 armies playing by Crusade rules, I think that's a cool idea. I think having just a escalation type situation with Crusade, where you have a set number of people that are playing in a league type setting, I think that works.
Well, you can also, in situations like that, potentially discuss house rules and stuff like that. Like, okay, because in most role-playing games, fun fact, in 90% of tabletop games, you open the book up, and like the first page, it'll say, "This is a work of fiction. These are guidelines. We want you to have fun." Which means if there is a rule in here you do not like, or it does not work for you, feel free to change it to your needs or omit it completely.
Yeah.
That's where house rules come in.
Yeah.
So I figure if we treat it like that, we could easily create a set of house rules with everyone's agreement.
Well, and that's the whole thing. Again, the other thing to realize, again, the big thing about Crusade rules, they're very thorough.
Like I said.
They're 26 pages long.
That would be after mine, honey. Yes.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. There's all. Yeah, and that is a real thing.
And I would think that if you're in a situation like that, especially if you're in a league that's run by me and you end up in one of those situations, I have little to no problem with you playing off to the side, like with me or one of the players, with a brand new army to catch back up.
Or honestly, you set a Crusade specifically for X number of games.
True.
You just set it for X number of games. Because that's the whole thing. If you play a Crusade for like 20, 30, 40 games, and you start losing on a regular basis,
which is going to be
the minuses start accumulating. Eventually it gets to be, which is why when you set up your Crusade list, you set up like 50 units inside of it. You can only play X number at a time.
Zane, we'll talk about that as soon as the stream's over. I'll send you a message, okay?
Like I said, I'm still reading it all over because it was a lot to take in. It's an entire game system in and of itself, in addition to playing the game. But it adds kickers to the game, which was, again, it was a lot to take in. I was shocked. I'm going to say it again. It was thorough. I was shocked at how thorough it was. It was like somebody had an idea for an RPG based on Warhammer, and they didn't have enough to make it its own book, so they made it a chapter within the main rulebook.
Which, again, I think is really cool for people who are trying to get into the game.
Yeah. No, I think the big draw of Crusade is that it's going to draw role players in, and I think that's a benefit. The Order of Vicodin. Yeah.
Why is the sister team addicted to painkillers?
It's the Sisters of the Order of the Blessed Morphine. What do you mean 6 hours?
Here, I was just thinking. The Sisters of St. Marco?
Give me the pain meds.
Either that or these are a bunch of ladies that have learned how to thrive on them. They're one of those people who just like, no, make it hurt, make it hurt, make it hurt. Come on.
And that's when they start getting themselves painted in pink and talking about, maybe I should cut one boob off.
So that's how they fall. Claire!
50,000 volts straight to the nipples.
Oh yeah, that's another fun thing that we have to talk about as soon as he's
Squid Boss! How are you, my friend? Good to see you, buddy.
So another fun thing that, well, we're all also on the topic of games and whatnot. I came up with this crazy idea. And I need to get a hold of like the formula or something that's used for those of you who are familiar with a game called Cards Against Humanity.
She's going to do Cards Against the Imperium.
Nope, I'm going to do Data Slates Against Heresy. You can make notes. Yeah. That's right, I saw that. Somebody was able to make notes. Sorry, there's a conversation going on in Discord, and I do apologize. It actually has to do with the painting cups that we had designed some time back. And I've been working with Zane on it because he's got a plastic printer and whatnot, so I apologize. So my thought process is I would like to create a deck like Cards Against Humanity, except all Warhammer 40K themed. Like instead, like there's a black question card that says, and the Academy Award for blank goes to blank. Best winner for that card I've ever heard was, in the Academy Award for licking things to show ownership goes to Joe Biden. Still love that one to this day. Anyway, I want to change it to the Golden Emperor Award goes to blank for blank. The only thing better than being shot in the head by your commissar is blank. You know, stuff like that.
Is it really kind of heresy if you blank with a blank? Or if you blank with blank?
So it's a work in process. I have been given a wonderful pieces of resource to be able to have them printed as soon as I can figure out what the equation of white cards to black cards is. And then we'll try and make a little version of it. I may have to tweak it just a little because I really don't want to get in trouble if I want to try and sell it. Or being...
you won't be able to. You won't be able to sell it.
True. So if anybody wants one, then...
We'll put it together and we'll throw it... If we actually get this together and put it together, we'll just throw it up as a freebie on our Drive-Thru RPG.
You have a Drive-Thru RPG?
I do.
I don't know how to Drive-Thru RPG.
I don't have anything for sale on it, but I have it.
Oh.
Anybody can set it up. So,
yeah. Like that tarot deck that I want to put together?
Yeah. So, yeah, like I said, I've been reading over 9th. I close out I close out our Discord
and terrain, common terrain features. Number 1, ruins. The galaxy is littered with shattered remains of once proud cities. Terrain category, area terrain. Terrain traits, scalable, breachable, light cover, defensible, and obscuring.
And like I said, the rules didn't really change from 8th to 9th on terrain. They just codified them and gave different abilities an actual keyword so you can tag a piece of terrain with keywords. It's just to make things so there's less arguing about what a piece of terrain can and cannot do. And again,
barricades and fuel pipes.
And again, in the very beginning of the rules, they very say specifically, you and your opponent should agree on what pieces of terrain actually are. Like, I know Winter's SEO has a really, for me, it was a very clear video. He did a really great job. but
a little hard for me to
she
understand.
had
Not against you, Winters. If you end up watching this, it was nothing against you. I just have a problem with that type of instruction. I need to have hands on. So, love you still.
I found it very, very informative.
He does that well. He can look at a rule book and then someone can go, okay, well, this is kind of how it works, and then you do this and you do this, and just show it to him, and he goes, I go, but that doesn't make any sense. No, wouldn't it be better? So he has to do a hands-on with me once we have a chance to do it, which is why Gabe mentioned making the roundup.
Yeah.
Rules video number 1.
So that's that's the thing we're going to do. We're going to end up, I think we're going to do a rules from the ground up and just do some terrain rules and just go over terrain right there. And I think we're going to go over a bunch of different rules. Right, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to put pieces of terrain down, put figures on the table, and show you how the interaction works.
Yes, because unfortunately that is how myself and Plaguechild both learn best, is we do better with hands-on. So that is coming.
That's actually, honestly, if we get the video for the figure out this Thursday or Friday, I will probably, because it won't be long to do, I'll probably try and get that video up this weekend. Seeing as Indominus is on pre-sale this weekend. Indominus.
We should probably talk to our friend over at the Leighton store and see if there's any way of holding pre-order from him.
Yeah, we're going to talk to him on Saturday.
Okay. Phoenix, speaking of that, we'll probably have you and the Commodore over as well when we do those.
If you want.
If you would like. Always option. So, yes. And this Saturday...
Besides, it gives me a good excuse for my Plague Marines to beat up his Imperial fists.
Again.
No, I didn't beat up his fists. I beat up his knights.
Speaking of knights, I need headshots, sir. We are ready to begin. He knows what that means. So let's see, what else was there that you wanted to talk about? Because we've covered terrain. You covered the storm shields.
Indominus is pre-order this weekend.
Well, yes, which is very exciting. Which means we have a 25-point game coming up.
Yes.
Do we want to do that Saturday and just live stream it? I'm not working.
Okay, we can do that. We can live stream that. That'll be a mess.
It always is when we're doing stuff.
Especially because you don't know the rules yet.
Nope, so it's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. And so, crash course through the rules 101. Indominus Rules 101 this Saturday. Where Big
I don't know what we can do in Indominus Rules this weekend. We can do the 25 point, but we can't do point costs though, because those aren't coming out for another 2 weeks. We won't get those until the point costs are off. They're wrong. Okay.
Wait, then how are you gonna play against Ben and them Saturday?
We're playing by old rules. We're using some of the Indominus rules, but we're doing the point costs for current stuff.
Okay, so you're gonna see a match of house rules. 25 points. Okay. Me versus him. For mine.
Warm-ups in the morning. You betcha. I will be bringing the heat, my friend. And if you're bringing your nasty boys, that's mean.
Don't bring your Grey Knights, please.
No, bring your Grey Knights. That's fine.
Don't bring the Grey Knights.
Bring your Grey Knights.
Don't play me with the Grey Knights.
No, I'm playing Ben. I already said this. I'm playing Ben. You can play Tina. You can have her sister shoot you in the face.
Is that before or after I stab her?
Before, and then after. She shoots, then you stab. Basically, Sisters of Battle and Witches are basically scar tissue covered with spiky bits and guns.
Power play. Play power levels. Ignore point costs.
Yes.
I don't have enough to play that.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. I figured it out. Remember? I showed you. You have more than enough for power level. I showed you that. You have more than enough.
What?
You have more than enough.
I didn't think I did.
You have more than enough. I showed you have more than enough.
Okay, we'll talk about that later because I am.
TNA's practice.
And I know what my 25.
And so do you.
And I know what my 25-point witch army already looks like because he figured it out, and it's disgusting.
It's your brain.
That was like the last thing I ever pointed out to people. I go, it is 2 squads, 2 5-man squads of Cobbleites. No, 2 5-man squad of witches, a squad of Cobbleites, my raider, my 3 bikes, a succubus,
and your brain.
And your brain.
That's a really huge 25-point unit.
And that was actually 24 points.
Yeah.
I think the 24 points. That is disgusting.
Yeah.
I'm terrified. Because I know me. I roll dice for shit. Yeah. And I roll dice for absolute shit, by the way.
Witches are cheap. Because they die like whores.
They go down faster than it. Never mind, I'm gonna stop there.
They go down fast, just like witches do. Wait.
That wasn't what I was going to say, but let's go with that.
That will be the big thing. The way witches win, the way...
I'm well aware of how a witch wins. Stay away!
Yeah.
I've seen it. It works. Chris, if you ever watch this, darling, I love you, I miss you, and thank you for teaching me that.
2 venoms rather than...
You know it's already primed and ready to be painted, right?
I've been telling you to paint your dark house for a while. Just saying. All right, so as we come to the last 15 minutes, we're going to cover our last topic.
Do you have another topic?
No, I don't know. We did. I'm tired. I have a new job. It's great. It's exhausting. I'm in 100-degree heat, off and on all day, walking on the floor of an industrial plant, fixing or setting up computers on a production line. It's and it's only for a couple of weeks, but it's better than not working. And I had more interviews. So, I mean, things are looking up. You can tell that things are loosening up. I have a couple interviews over the next few days.
Loosening up at a long time.
Yeah, but one of them is completely remote work anyhow, so
Yeah,
it'll be fine anyhow.
Is that the S. Johnson?
Yeah. So,
what are you going after? Did you take the...
Murica.
I have to beat him. Because it's normally followed by yellow. Continue. Or did I derail your train of thought again?
I don't know. I actually didn't. That's one of the few I didn't watch. I didn't watch the GW stream because I kind of expected it to be scripted. Because they want to make everything look awesome, and they want to make everything look cool, and they want everything to show off. They're not trying to actually play the game. They're trying to sell a product.
Everything is cool when you're part of a team. Everything is a fun.
Now, I would say again, if you want to look at channels that actually are producing really good content on right now, I got to give Auspex Tactics a huge shout out. I mean, they don't need a shout out from a little tiny channel like mine, but man, Auspex Tactics has been really good about breaking things down and doing some really, really tight battle reports. I haven't watched it yet, but I know Winters just dropped a 9th edition battle report, and I got to be watching that because I'm a big fan of Winters. I love Deployment Zone. I love Winters SEO. I think that they do great work. Just really incredible battle reports. Very narrative, very fun play. No, they're not super competitive armies. You get to see fun units that most people don't play, and they play them in very different ways, and that's what I love about it.
This is what happens when I drink Monster after having.
I don't know why you drink a Monster this late.
I don't even.
Goober.
Which means I'm going to be up until like 2 o'clock in the morning right now. And the other problem is that I haven't had any in like a month or so.
And you had 2 of them today.
1.5. Just 1.5. Because I stopped drinking the other one yesterday. Because I was being really bad, and after I almost killed somebody in another game, because I made her start laughing because I was being so.
All right. So that being said, I know there's also some types of terrain that I don't actually have any built for. So one of the things I'm going to be building, I'm going to be building some craters. I think some craters would be pretty cool. And I've got a couple new tips and tricks I've seen for building craters. So I'm going to see what I can do with what I know about building them and making them look kind of cool. So look for that in the near future as well. Kaiju, you lied to me. You said you'd be back in an hour.
It's more than an hour.
Been more than an hour. You lied. You lied.
You broke my heart.
But not too much.
Yeah, I'll get over it.
So, let's see here. What else is going on? Indominus is getting pre-released on Saturday, or pre-sold on Friday. Saturday. They wanted to do it on Saturdays instead of Fridays.
You know what? I'm surprised you're not going to like get up or like stay up long enough for as soon as it goes on pre-sale. You know that
it goes on pre-sale at 11:30 in the morning.
So you're going to be on your phone waiting?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, look, it's Black Friday for the gaming community. Woo! Okay. I need to drink water or something.
You need to go get your water. Why don't you get yourself some water?
Not yet. We have 9 minutes left.
Well, you could go get yourself water and bring me.
Nope.
Popsicle.
Nope. We have 9 minutes.
Wow, I got denied for a popsicle.
Yep. We got 8 minutes.
All right. I like the fact that they're considering industrial structures going to be different than ruins. That was one of the big confusions from before, because like the big industrial pieces, like the big tanks and the furnaces and whatnot, there really was no rules on what they did for cover. It's like, oh, they're just like ruins. They're not like ruins. They actually have separate rules. So different terrain is different.
You're hot. Please stop touching me.
Then go get me a popsicle.
No. Stop touching me. He's hot. He's touching me. Stop touching me. It's really hot.
It is really hot, which is why I want a popsicle.
You can have one in 8 minutes. Should we just do our shout outs now?
Well, yeah, let me quick look at my rules. If there was something else that jumped out on me that did anything cool. I
found it really cool finding out that that there are there can be enemy, ally, and neutral buildings that are placed that
which isn't really a change, but she wasn't aware of this.
And I thought it was really cool because you can set up something where it says like, okay, so this thing here is going to be hostile towards both of us, which means if we come within 6 inches of it, it's going to shoot us.
In the narrative play.
I think that's really cool.
There are two things. Buildings. We talked about hills, but the other thing is buildings. Now, if you, as part of your army, buy a building, it's considered a unit. It is an interesting point that if you buy a building, it's considered a unit. So for enemies coming in on it, again, it's a unit. So they can't just walk through it. They have to actually either attack it or move around it.
Unless it's shooting them, then you might want to check it.
Well, but I'm saying they have to shoot it or move around it. But also, if it's a unit and you have it in your backfield, technically that means the whole 9 inches of 9 inches of space needed to be given by deep strike. It counts, which is interesting. But in narrative play, you can put a building down. So it is a building that is, but it's considered neutral. So it may have a function, but it doesn't block movement. But like, and the example Winters was just showing a building. It's just a building.
You cannot punch a hole in terrain, but you can do it to a building if it is not considered a ruin.
Oh. Yes. Some terrain is destructible. It's a terrain type. It's called destructible. Remember,
we do not have time for you to go over this now.
There is, yes, some terrain is considered destructible. But another perfect example is like ruins. If there's just a set of ruins there, if you are a swarm, a monster, or an infantry, you can walk right through it as if it's not there. It does not force you, and there's a name for it. It's called breachable. If a piece of terrain is breachable, if you are an infantry, a monster, or a swarm, you can move through it as if it's not there. But that's specific to moving through it. There is also a type of terrain that is called destructible. And I have to look at that again where that rule is. Yeah, no, I absolutely do. I have.
Oh, he's got plenty of models.
I have tons.
We have stuff that is packed up upstairs.
No, I have all my terrain down here. It's all underneath. It's all up there, all underneath. I have all my terrain here, but yes, I have about. I think the only GW 40K terrain I'm missing, honestly, are the Noctilith Gate, the Webway Gate.
I want that.
And some of the biggest pieces of the Imperium set. And I don't have any of the Mechanicum pieces. I want the Mechanicum pieces really badly, but instead, I am building my own Mechanicum set. So yeah, like I said, I actually am going to try and get one out this weekend. I have enough terrain built, painted, and finished that I should be able to actually do a how to use terrain in 40K 9th edition. That shouldn't be really hard to do. I'll probably work on it some of Saturday and some of Sunday, and we'll have it out Sunday night. So I think that's a goal. Team goals. All right.
Oh.
So that being said, I think as we're coming to a close, we're going to give our shout outs to our lovely patrons.
Yay, patrons!
So at the Battle Brother level,
we have Inquisitor Zane and Minnie Wormutt.
You are correct. Minnie Wormutt. Say your name. Minnie Wormutt.
I think I might have left us.
I leave me all the time. Breaks my heart.
Yeah, he always comes back.
Now, we have at the Battle Leader level,
we have Joe Bookish, Heinrich Botha,
and our newest patron, Kaiju Shorts.
Yes.
And lastly, we have at the Warlord level patrons.
We have the one, the only, he who sits in high orbit and takes no shit from nobody, the Commodore. We have the Master Modeler, otherwise known as the legend himself, Alex Drake. We have Mr. Meeks. Watch out for him, he's on the road. And we have...
That was it. That's it. 2, 3, and 3.
Yay! See, I got most of it.
She did well. She did quite well. She thought we had more rather than less. All right, folks. Thank you so much. If you found this at all entertaining, useful, interesting, or it just was a good way to pass your evening, please give us a like and throw a share out there. It's one of the best things you can do for this channel. If you don't have that bell rung, ring that bell.
If you are not yet subscribed to us, please, we beg you, subscribe. This tells YouTube that we're actually informational.
Well, subscribing and giving comments below, going back into our library and commenting on videos does help us out. It lets YouTube know that we're actually doing our job.
So if you guys have any ideas of something you would like to see Big D cover or me ramble about for a few minutes, please comment below.
Comment below. Lastly,
Indominus is here on Saturday.
Preorder! Preorder! 9th edition!
Pretty sure that's not what he's talking about.
Indominus.
Oh, it wasn't Indominus.
It was Indominus.
Okay.
All right, Indominus, 9th edition. Preorder Saturday.
And remember, Saturday.
$200. $200.
And remember also, Saturday, you will get to see me flounder as I seek victory for my Marines.
Man, I love when Indominus comes. That being said, epic your board,
Epic your life.
and epic your game. I'm Big D.
I'm Lady Dragon.
You can find us on Instagram at the Gamecraft Dragon.
Lady_Dragon28. And you can also find Plague Child, who is currently unconscious.
We're going to have links below to a lot of really cool stuff.
We have merch. And soon as I get my vector back, we're going to... Yeah, if he does that, his ass is in trouble. As soon as I get my vector design back, we will actually be having a new design for our merchandise going up with the soon-to-be new logo for the channel.
So thank you so much. Much love, and game on.
Game on, guys. I'm going to go drink some water so I can stop bouncing around.